Today I want to share with you 15 things we don't do in our family and the reasons why. I have seen a number of these videos circulating around, also the one parenting advice I don't follow, things like that, and I think it's just interesting to gain different perspectives on raising our families, homemaking, all of that kind of thing. So in sharing these today, I want you to know I am not saying that our way is better than your way. We are always learning, growing. In 10 years, I don't know, some of these may have changed, I don't know, but this is where we're at right now, and I hope that this just gives you some food for thought, maybe in rethinking some things you're doing, or just simply to learn how we're doing our things if you're just curious. So grab a cup of coffee, tea, whatever you want. I got my trusty water bottle as always. I know I should venture out. I'm actually starting to really love tea again. Cold tea lattes are it. They're so tasty. Oh, and while you're watching, let me know in the comments below what's one thing you don't do in your families. I would love to learn from you, and we are always growing and learning more. Number one is we do not watch or even own a TV. So this is one that was actually encouraged to us by our pastor when we did marriage counseling years ago before Josh and I were married. They suggested not getting one for the first year of your marriage, just to spend that extra time on each other, learning each other, all the things, instead of defaulting in front of a screen. And I think it's actually really great advice. After that 1 year, we kind of re-evaluated, thought it through, and decided, you know what, the benefits really don't outweigh the negative stuff. So we just never got a TV. We don't watch a ton of videos in our home anyway, but when we do, there's always Amazon Prime, YouTube, options like that, or just good old-fashioned DVDs. Number two, I do not cook 2 meals. I see so many moms who are cooking dinner for themselves, but then like chicken nuggets and fries for the kids. And I feel like that is the perfect way to make picky eaters. When their palates are taught young that nutritious food is also really yummy, dessert is not a reward for eating your vegetables, but just learning to eat a balanced diet, which, fun fact, actually starts in the womb. While you're pregnant, they're already developing those taste buds. Isn't that crazy? Might have to rethink that quart of ice cream, right? That, or what's the typical pregnancy joke? Like, yeah, I think it is like a whole thing of ice cream that you could eat. I don't know. Anyway, but they always have to at least try everything, and then they can have more of whatever their favorite aspect of the meal is. But that's worked well for us, and I don't plan on changing that. Also makes it a lot easier for you as the cook to not have to think of 2 separate meals at one time. Number 3, currently we do not play on sports teams. Now, I have nothing against sports. In fact, I loved sports all growing up. I played a ton of soccer in elementary school. I was always defense, absolutely loved it. Played a lot of volleyball through my high school and teen years, and so I really love sports, and I actually hope our kids are involved in sports. However, what we're trying to stay away from is the whole thing where you have all your kids and all these different events all around the place, so that you're never home for family dinners, and families keep, like, dad goes with this kid to their sport and mom goes with this kid to this sport, and where it ends up being almost every night of the week. That does not look appealing to us, and so we are currently actually looking into an option where 2 or 3 of our kids could all be in the same one, because that would immediately be a lot less of evenings running all around. And I'm sure partly like our milking schedule and the fact that we live on a farm also plays into that, but that's something that's important for us in our home. Number 4, I feel like this one is gaining more ground. You hear about it a lot more, and that is that we don't do sleepovers. You hear just so much negative things happening at sleepovers, and like kids being introduced to pornography and just different things. Obviously a vast array of things and ideas. And so that's just something that we've set for our home. They do occasionally go to their grandparents' house for night, but they're not just going any friend's house anytime for a sleepover. Number 5, I wrote on here, do not listen to sensual music, but I don't think sensual is quite the word I'm looking for. Basically, we're just really picky with the words in songs. I think music is a lot more powerful than often we give it credit for, and if you really sit and listen, like, storylines of a lot of songs are trash. There's a lot of swear words, crass words, just inappropriate words for young ears, things like that. So we're just really picky with that. Basically, we mainly will listen to worship music, instrumental music, and you know, maybe a few on the side, but we're really picky with that. Obviously, we can't control that when we are in stores or public places. But when they are at home or in the car, I try to be very intentional with what we are listening to. Number 6, we do not send our kids to school, currently at least. Growing up, I actually attended a private Christian school through grade 6 and absolutely loved it. Then was homeschooled the rest of the way, graduated in Florida through Abeka's homeschool program. So anyway, I feel like we kind of had a mix of everything. We sent our oldest daughter to school for 1 year. So we've kind of dabbled in all these different things, but for our family, at least right now, we strongly feel that homeschool is our best option and really, really love it. Number 7 is we don't eat out a lot. I can't remember the last time we've eaten at a fast food restaurant. We don't really like fast food, if I'm honest. It doesn't taste good to me. But also I am really picky specifically with vegetable oils in our food, just from my own health history, and it's pretty hard to get away from in fast food restaurants. So it really adds up to eat out with a large family, and especially if you're trying to go for healthier options, and then obviously also because of nutritional benefit of making your own food at home. So we definitely don't eat, you know, 5-course dinners every night at home, but the vast majority of our meals are home cooked with whole ingredients. Number 8, you're gonna laugh at, okay? Maybe I shouldn't have even included this one, but we do not wear big graphics. So this is completely like personal preference. While they're young enough, I just really have so much fun curating their closets and certain styles I really love on them, certain colors that I think are so beautiful on them. And to me, maybe it's like some sort of sensory overload, I don't know. But if they're in all like big graphics and bright, like all these, you know what I'm talking about, okay? It just is like, whoa, when you look at them, and I don't know. I know, it's probably just me and it's a little crazy, but I just don't love big graphic shirts. So no offense if you do. But lumped with that, this is a little bit more serious for me. I don't put them in mature clothing. And by that, I mean like bikinis on my girls, which I don't wear a bikini myself anyway, but you see it a lot, especially my 9-year-old daughters. Like if you go thrifting for her, there's so many like bikinis, crop top, crazy short shorts, that kind of thing. And that is something that I'm very picky with. Anyway, I think just another way that we can help protect our kids and also raise them up, teach them by example and how we dress them, what's appropriate. Number 9, we don't allow our kids to spend time on our phones. I feel like it just gets younger and younger and younger, and that makes me sound old, but where kids are on phones all the time, you see them out in the streets, little 5-year-old kids on a phone, and I'm like, get a life. I have so many memories of imaginative play as a kid, of making mud pies in the woods, pretending we are pioneers or Indians or all these things, making flower crowns, all the things, you know? And it makes me really sad when kids are literally glued to a phone, because you know what it does to their brains, right? And it's way overstimulation, plus never mind all the junk that's online and that you can access on phones. So that is something I'm pretty passionate about, and it'll probably be quite a long time till our kids own a phone, which this might be helpful if you do have older kids. There's birds building a nest literally right on top of my window, and they keep kind of startling me because I see these flapping wings. Anyway, we're good. But there's a phone called Gabb phones. I think it's Gabb. That's only texting and calling. So there's no like Wi-Fi, all that. Basically, it's like an old-fashioned phone that looks newer fashion, and which I think is a great option if they kind of need to be able to contact you and stuff when they're out, but it's not giving them access to all the other junk out there. Number 10, we generally do not shop on Sunday. We try really hard for our Sundays to be peaceful, restful, rejuvenating. The Bible says to remember to keep the Sabbath day holy, also that God rested on the Sabbath day. And you see that, like, no matter if people want to have a day of rest or not, which by the way, I don't think has to be on a Sunday, but I think it has to be a certain day of the week. People will burn out if they do not rest. And I know shopping can be relaxing also, I guess, but in general, I just try to stay away from that in store. Number 11, no shouting in the house. And they can be loud and rambunctious outside, but we try to keep the voices, not just whispers, but we do try to keep the shouting and all of that to the beautiful outdoors. Number 12 is maybe not one that you would expect. We do not go to movie theaters, and it's not that we don't ever watch movies, although it's not too often, as I mentioned previously. I have a very pictographic memory. So I very clearly remember, as I don't remember how old I was, 8, 10 years, maybe somewhere in there. We were at a hotel, my family was, and I was in the fitness room. I think I was trying to like run on the treadmill or something, and something flashed on the screen that was just, I mean, you know how the TV is already on. I didn't know how to turn it off, and something flashed on the screen that to this day I can see so clearly in my mind. That has bothered me for years. And so I am very, very picky with what movies I will watch, and it's just not worth it to me to have, for one, like a lot of it is not stuff that I want to follow. It's not godly character, but also some of it is just downright evil. And to have that keep replaying in my mind, I don't want that. I don't want that for my kids. So that happened at a movie theater. We went one time. It's supposed to be a really good movie, which in my opinion was trash. But even just the ads that play before movies, there's so much junk in. And so I don't know. To me, it's just not worth it. Number 13, in our family, we try hard not to speak poorly of each other to others. So I try to teach the kids this as well. Like, you don't go and tell all your friends how your brother or sister did this that was rude. Like, we're all learning, we're all growing, we're all trying to get better. There's no need to speak poorly to your siblings in front of your friends. And they can obviously always come to us if they have concerns, if they were mistreated, if they saw their sibling do something that was not okay, but not to spread that around to friends. And the same goes for myself as the wife, as the mom. I try to be very intentional with how I share things. So I do have close friends that I will share, you know, struggles with, things we're dealing with the kids maybe, but I try to be really intentional with doing it out of a place of honor and like not, oh, I'm just so fed up with this kid. Like, why can't they ever get anything right? But rather do it from a place of love and like genuinely wanting to find a solution to help and to improve this. Because I truly, like, honestly, my husband and my kids are some of the greatest gifts in my life, and I truly treasure them so much, and I don't want to, even on hard days, go and just tear them down. Number 14 is kind of a parenting specific one, and that is I try not to just say no or stop, but rather to give a reason why. If your kid is poking a piece of wire into an outlet, you know, outlets are more child-proofed. I don't know how child-proofed, but I'm using this as an example, okay? If your kid is poking wire into an outlet and you just say, stop, they're gonna be like, okay, mom, like, I'm just having fun. Versus if you say, stop, if you keep poking the wire in there, you're going to get shocked and it will really hurt. Then it makes a lot more sense to their little minds. Like, kids are so curious and they want to know why. So I think kids should obey, even if it is just a one-word like command. But I think it really helps them to understand if you give just a little bit of an explanation behind your command. And then number 15 is probably the most controversial one of the day. And that is, we do not go to Disney. Now, I did not grow up with all the Disney characters, all the princesses, all of that anyway. But the agenda that Disney has publicly said in the last few years, that behind their movies, all the things, well, just Google it. It is terrifying and it is not something that I want anywhere near or around my family. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. We love family days, parks. You can go to amusement parks, all these tons of things. I'm all for family outings, but we are picky with who we will support. So that is not one of them. Okay, now I feel like that ended kind of heavy, but I hope that those made sense, maybe at least gave you some food for thought. Don't forget to let me know in the comments below, what is one thing you currently do not do in your family? Thank you so much for being here, spending time with me today, and I will look forward to seeing you next time. Bye, friends.
Golden, golden thing.